And all of my friends were equally sure that I was stark raving mad. But I didn't care because this was my dream. It wasn't their dream. They didn't see how I could possibly afford to live there. Their concern was not my concern. My concern was my dream. Before I took these actions, I could have been convinced that I would never be able to afford or acquire such an opulent place. After I took these actions, my energy had shifted to the expectation of living in that place. And gee, what a surprise. I was living there in about 6 months, not anywhere close to the 2-year time frame that landlord had told me. Hi, everybody. I'm Diane Armitage, and welcome back to the Catalyst Code, where we crack the internal code that creates the external result. Now, every week, I'm handing you the tools to activate momentum, rewire your mind, and get you the results that actually stick. You are the catalyst. This is the code. So let's go. Now, today is the concluding part 2 of my No Fluff Money series. Because let's be honest, if money still feels mysterious, dramatic, or just plain rude, like it can't be bothered with you, this one is for you. And if you missed part 1, well, you missed the part where I exposed money beliefs like the silent saboteurs that they are. They're super sneaky. This is where we started dragging out the money beliefs that you've carried around unconsciously in the shadows of your life. And this is where we talk about having these money beliefs clanking around like big old clanky things around you, chains that you didn't even know you were wearing. So if money still feels like a clunky chain or an unsolvable mystery, why don't you pause this and go back to the first episode and listen. It's only going to take you about 20 minutes, and you'll see why part 1 is like a lightning bolt. And then the rest of all of this that I'm about to say will all make sense to you, because today we go full Jedi. I'm telling you the exact things that Bob Proctor had me do to shake off the money drama for good. Crazy assignments that I know he didn't assign to just about anyone else. We are flipping money paradigms like flapjacks today. We are exposing financial vampires that have been sucking the life out of you for years. And I'm unveiling a game board that will rewrite your money game forever. So let's buckle up. Now, if you'll remember in part 1, I told you about Bob Proctor, the whale of Las Vegas. He was the slot machine king. And I'm not talking about the guy who just wins like $700. Every casino on the strip wanted Bob in their world because all the clanging bells and their winner whooping sirens followed him like a pod of slot machines orbiting their prize whale. But if you know Bob's story, you know that he didn't grow up thinking like a whale. He was raised to believe he was krill. You know, those tiny little shrimp creatures that basically whales feed on. They exist for whales to feed on them. But somewhere in Bob's late 20s, this krill guy, he broke from his school of krill family and krill buddies. And because that's the way of life, but it clearly wasn't leading to his kind of feast. He learned how to become a whale with money. Now, some people, they're raised that way. They understand even from a young age how to think and feel and act like a money whale, living from a state as if the money they want has already arrived, living from a state that all the money they need is available to them whenever they need it, whenever they want to order it up. It's a classic acting as if the money will always be there because they know it always will. There's just no question in their mind. My business partner, Bruce, who lives in Dallas, his family and community taught him from childhood forward, how to convey a relaxed, expectant, receiving attitude about money's continual and increasing flow in his life. And so money has flowed into Bruce's life, around Bruce's life, like an obedient soldier ever since he was a kid. Now, if you've been a follower of Bob or anyone in this genre of teaching, you can say, yeah, I've heard that. I know all of this. Act as if, act as if, act as if. I've got it. I get it. I get it. Well, if you've got it, then you don't have a problem with money. I mean, I used to say it to Bob all the time, right to his face. Yeah, I know. I got it. Stop telling me to act as if. I knew it, but I hadn't embodied it. I didn't act it. And when you are not already energetically there on that vibrational level of what it is you wish to have in your life, you just stay down here at this vibrational level, looking up at that big pile of money on that vibrational level up there. You want that pile of money, but it resides on that vibrational level and you don't know how to get up to that vibrational level. This is why I created the Money Mojo Game Board. Now, it looks like a kid's game board, like Candyland or something. I mean, it's not like a big board game. You can print it from your printer, but don't let the winding paths and the colors fool you. It is a deceptively powerful exercise that's going to show you where you're really showing up with money and your expectant attitude around money. Because sure, you can write a big financial number on a goal card. You can write that affirmation until your pen runs dry. Yes, I am turning my annual income into my monthly income. I am turning my annual income into my monthly income. I am turning my annual income into my monthly income. You may say it, you may write it, but how are you feeling about it? How are you acting as if that is already flowing in your life? Where is your expectation really? On the money, not only arriving, but being readily available to you already as a tool? Or do you feel this sort of underlying, sort of grimy expectation that it's just another pipe dream that's never going to happen for you? Now, I'm going to be dropping this board game in my code vault as this week's activator, and that's an easy key punch for you. And I'll explain more about this in the end. Okay. But I want to get back to this expectation because expectation is paramount. Expectation is paramount. Also, very important here is you taking action now on the expectation that the money is showing up, that it's already here. What do you mean, Diane? What do you mean taking action? How can I take action if I don't even have the money? How can I take action if I don't have the money? How can I take action if I don't have the money? Okay, you're right. I used to be there. When Bob used to explain this to me, all of the clanging bells and alarms would go off. I mean, what was I supposed to do? Start charging my credit cards? Go apply for a mortgage I couldn't afford? Just look at that kind of talking that we hear in our own heads. But there are always these small steps and these confident actions that you can take that immediately begin to thwart those habitual belief patterns, those habitual loser belief patterns, the paradigms that tell you it simply can't be done. It will never be yours. Small steps and confident actions. Now, the very first time Bob and I had lunch together in October 1994, this was after I had first met him when I was his bodyguard at our RE/MAX convention in Las Vegas in March of 1994. Now, I think I tell that entire tale in my episode 2 of the Catalyst Code podcast. And so several months after, he and I had the first discussion about me leaving the company and starting my own freelance writing company. I called him because I knew he was coming back into town to work with RE/MAX, and he agreed to have lunch with me. Now, this was still when I was clinging to my $28,000 a year job with my nose up against the corporate ceiling instead of launching my own writing company. Now, during that lunch, Bob had to seriously talk me off the cliff of worrying that if I left my cozy corporate job and failed in my new business, that I would be homeless. That was seriously a very real fear of mine. And even after that lunch, it took me 7 more months before I took the leap into fully starting my own writing company. Now, as you heard me explain in episode 2, it was serendipitous what happened next. I mean, the day I quit my company, I flew up to Toronto. I started working with this real estate giant named Craig Proctor, who's not in any way related to Bob Proctor, but they were working in a real estate seminar together. And the next morning, when I came down from my hotel room into the room where Craig was setting up and starting his workshop to teach agents, in walked Bob Proctor. And we were very surprised to see each other because we hadn't seen each other since October of 1994, and now it was May of 1995. Anyway, in my first 24 hours, I had 2 clients sign on with me in my new freelance writing company, and instantly I was making $8,000 a month instead of the $2,300 a month I had been making with my $28,000 a year job. Now remember, this was back in 1994. This was almost 40 years ago. But in 5 months, I had brought in more than $120,000 in income. Had I stayed at my old job, I may have gotten a slight raise, maybe to 30, but certainly never close to 125. And then it tripled and it quadrupled and it just kept going up from there. Now, you would think that I have all the money things solved. Everything is I've got it all figured out. I've got my head right. Everything's wired, right? So you fast forward 5 years later, continuous work with Bob all this time, all these 5 years. And the same old money paradigms crawled right back up again. When I told Bob that I couldn't afford to live in Laguna Beach, my most favorite town in the whole world, that was a dire mistake. You never tell Bob that you can't afford something. So let me tell you, he handled that very quickly. He ordered me to drive up there that very day, take out a post office box in Laguna Beach, and start forwarding my mail. Now, if I haven't told that story yet, I will tell that bigger story and all of its wacky, enormous end results in another of these episodes. But let me tell you what happened when I was pretty much propelled to drive to Laguna Beach and take this crazy action, starting to forward my mail. In doing so, I was shifting my energy around my imagined end result. Now, I'm going to say that again because this is really important. I was shifting my energy around my imagined end result. Now, think about this. Before I took out that post office box, I was focused on not moving to Laguna Beach, the expensive town. Sure, I had written about it in my New Year's journal. Sure, I had made it an official goal. Awesome. And then I put that journal away, and I don't know that I even thought about it again until the subject came up when he asked me where I wanted to live in the world. This is what we do. We imagine a great end result. Suddenly, everything is going to be amazing. This is going to happen. And then we slam the door closed on it in a nanosecond later because it's too expensive. Now, as soon as I took that crazy action, the forwarding my mail crazy action, I began to look forward to my move to Laguna Beach. It was inevitable. It was going to happen. Even if it didn't happen for 5 or 6 weeks for the post office to figure it out, I knew that I was moving to Laguna Beach. So I began researching and I began expecting, and I shifted the energy by shifting the focus. I shifted the energy by shifting the focus of expectation. Previously, I expected this could never happen. Now I'm expecting this is going to happen because I forced my card. 3 years later, when I told Bob I couldn't afford to live in a penthouse over the ocean and it wasn't going to be available anyway for 2 years, he was kind of done ordering me to do things. So he told me to come up with my own order. So I sent a security deposit to the landlord, who thought I was stark raving mad. She kept telling me, it's not going to be available for 2 years. I'm not selling it. And renters are going to be there for another 2 years. She kept telling me, but I was impervious because I had made my decision. So then I rented a storage unit to start filling it with all my new furniture finds and my art and my boxes and my paints and my new silverware for my new penthouse. And all of my friends were equally sure that I was stark raving mad. But I didn't care because this was my dream. It wasn't their dream. They didn't see how I could possibly afford to live there. Their concern was not my concern. My concern was my dream. Before I took these actions, I could have been convinced that I would never be able to afford or acquire such an opulent place. After I took these actions, my energy had shifted to the expectation of living in that place. And gee, what a surprise. I was living there in about 6 months, not anywhere close to the 2-year time frame that landlord had told me. Now, why does it happen this way? Well, let's take you back to the very beginning. It happens this way because you are an energetic force. Your entire being is made up of a mass of atoms and molecules moving at a high rate of vibration, and you are constantly throwing out energy. You're constantly interacting with the energetic world around you. This is not fluffy. This is not woo-woo. This is cold, hard physics. You are the first law of physics, the law of laws. Energy is, and energy is always in motion. And whether you know it or not, you are interacting with this energy around you every single second of every single day. You are a creator. Why? Because you have the ability to choose. You have the ability to choose the trajectory of your life. And you are an energetic catalyst, always interacting with the beautiful energy around you. Always interacting with the beautiful energy around you, whether you know it or not, whether you are conscious to it or not. You are physics in motion. You are part of this energetic universal skein. You already have all of the tools to step into a world of your choosing. You are the ripple effect, you, as you interact with all the energy around you. And money is just energy. All the money you currently have, all the money you want, all the money you need is just energy interacting with your energy. Like energy attracts what? Like energy. Like energy attracts what? Like energy. Is that woo-woo? Is that fluffery? No. Cold, hard physics. Reverend Michael Beckwith always reminds us that this is a feeling universe. And what he means by that is that this planet operates solely and completely on noticing shifts in energy and then responding or reacting to the shift accordingly. So what is this universe, this feeling universe, noticing about your energy around money? Would you say it's reacting or responding? One of the other authors I've introduced in my Money Mojo Mastery classes uses this great example of flying a kite to explain this whole money energetic process. So let me tell you this story quickly. So imagine you're flying a kite. So you have two opposing forces, right? You have two opposing forces acting on the kite. You have the wind, that's one force, and it's pushing the kite away from you, right? And then you create force by pulling on the string, which brings the kite towards you, right? Now, when the two forces are equal, the kite doesn't move in the sky. It stays in sort of a static space, right? If you relax your hold, the string slides through your fingers and the wind is greater than you. The force of the wind is greater than you and it moves the kite away from you. If you grip the string firmly and pull the kite toward you, right, your pull is greater than the wind's force, hopefully in most cases, and the kite moves towards you. Now, the author concluded by saying, so it is with money. There is an attractive force, the force drawing money towards you, and there is a repellent force pushing money away from you, right? But it all has to do with how you hold the string. You are in charge of the string. If the attractive force is equal to the repellent force, then money stays in about the same space in your life all the time. It's neither moving towards you and it's really not moving away from you. You're basically in this place. You're just getting by. Every dime that comes in just goes back out again, right? When your repellent force is greater than your attractive force, you're believing in a stronger force than you. Guess what happens? Money flies away from you. When your attractive force is greater than your repellent force, this is your expectant force. This is your receiving force. When that attractive force is greater than the repellent force, when you stand in your power and know whose energy is in charge of this money game, money flows in your direction. So what do you want to do here? Well, I think we can all agree. We want to maximize your attractive force and we want to minimize your repellent force, right? Maximize your attractive force, minimize your repellent force. And it starts with your state of consciousness. Remember, your energy, your decision. You are the creator, you are the catalyst. Now, remember in part 1 of this little series, I talked about Robert Russell's great workbook, and there was a quote in it that I memorized years ago. Prosperity is a state of consciousness. And anyone who has the consciousness will demonstrate prosperity no matter where he or she is. It is not the job or the business or the geography that makes a person prosperous, but what he or she brings to it. This whole matter then turns on one's consciousness. Now think about that. What he or she brings to this. You are the deciding force. You are the energetic force with choice. It starts with your state of consciousness. Now notice, I told you, these short quips and interchanges between Bob Proctor and me. Not once did he ever say, you know, Di, you need to go invest in gold bars. That was not going to solve the money problem. Creating more money in my life had nothing to do with acting on the outside world that represents money. It only had everything to do with my consciousness, the state of who I choose to be, the state of where I choose to be. And as I teach about money, I'm teaching about how to permanently change your state toward money. That's where it all starts. Now, I trust that you have realized the 4 major truths that I have just shared with you that can shift your relationship with money. Now, I've shared these over the 2 pieces here, so it's really important that you saw part 1 as well. But I'm going to go through these quickly, okay? Number 1, all those limiting negative money tapes that you've heard repeating again and again in your home and your school and your workplace and the mass consciousness out there and the music around you, they may have gone underground, but they're still there operating in your subconscious mind in stealth mode in your life. They are still setting up the barriers and the limitations and the little corrals for how you accept, dream about, bring, expect, and realize money in your life. It's time to expose those creatures to the light of truth. These vampires have been living in too much of your head, too much of your headspace, like Stephen King's Salem's Lot. No, that was a spooky book. That was a spooky movie. One errant idea about money is like a vampire. It can infest an entire family. It can infest an entire community, and it can be passed down through generations in those families and communities for centuries. just creating multiple vampire thoughts and beliefs about money so that before you know it, your mind is surrounded by all of these vampires. It's time to expose your vampire thoughts about money to the light of truth, because only with recognition do we begin to create a different story. You choose. You choose life and freedom for you. It is your choice. Number 2, you are a powerful energetic force, always interacting with the energy around you. This is pure, unadulterated physics, and that physics law includes your interaction with money energy. Money is only in charge of you when you allow its energy to be bigger than your own. I'm going to say that again. Money is only in charge of you when you allow its energy to be bigger than your own. You are the Jedi Master. You choose. I remember in a much later movie in the Star Wars series, I think it was maybe Rogue One. Remember the heroine? She comes across this blind spiritual warrior monk on the steps somewhere, and his mantra was, I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. Imagine how your life will change when you begin to simply take up that mantra and believe in it. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. I am one with the Force, and the Force is in me. Energetic being, energetic force. You are already interacting with the Force. Now it's time to understand how to work with it as your ally. Number 3, I hope you realize that you are a one-of-a-kind gift on this planet. No one in the history of this planet has your skills, your talents, and your abilities. And no one in the future of this planet ever will have your dreams, your desires, and your passions that are singularly yours. And they are with you now. Now, a lot of those dreams and desires, they've been hanging out for a long time with you. They're dormant. They're sleeping on the couch. They're probably bored out of their minds, but they're over it. And that's why you keep feeling this tug. That's why you keep thinking, I think I deserve more. 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 And you do. It is time for you to step into your power and lead this dance. And number 4, I reminded you too that in order to bring money into your life, you must first act from expectancy and belief, and then take whatever small steps and confident action that you can think of, because it's already on the way. You are preparing the way. In fact, you've begun to live from a feeling tone as if it has already arrived. This is not about wrestling from the chains that are wrapped around you like Marley. This is about understanding that they will fall to the ground. When you begin to believe in who you really are, that energy, all of that energy out there is waiting on your command. That life is for you. That abundance is for you. It shows up whale-sized when you begin to believe. You were born to swim in circles with the krill. You've got whale energy. And now you've got the code to move like one. So start commanding the current, my friend. Your move. It's your move. Now, if you're feeling the shift, hit subscribe, share it with your smartest friend, somebody else who wants to get out of the krill school of krill, and I'll see you next week with one more code to crack. Now, if you want more of a weekly dose of the code, I'm inviting you to hop into the code vault. This is your backstage pass to bold breakthroughs. Like I said before, passive listening to this podcast is nice, and I love having you in my world. but it won't necessarily rewire your relationship with money. So the Code Vault is my private $11 a month membership, where we dive deeper each week with exclusive mindset tools, strategy drops, and activators. Activators that I write that help you apply what you've just heard. Now, inside this week's activator, part 2, is the Money Mojo Game Board. A deceptively powerful tool that shows you exactly where your money vibe is stuck and where your money vibe is in expectancy of money moving into your life. And this is how to move it. I'll drop the link in the show notes so you can go grab it. And just remember, you're not krill. You are the whale. Swim accordingly. I will see you next week.